Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic: what are some skills people think are difficult to learn but in reality are easy and impressive? Doing maintenance work yourself on your vehicles. You'd be surprised how easy it is and how much money you'd save by doing it. Was daunted by an engine bay until my Phil helped me swap my engine due to a cracked cylinder head. Learned a lot, and then a few months later when a clutch cylinder failed, I was able to fix it myself for only £25. Well shit son, you tackled one of the most labor-intensive jobs there is on a vehicle, lol badass. It's amazing how once you start working on a car it's almost like the complexity begins to unravel and you realize how simple everything actually is. Sewing, even if it's just to do simple repairs. It always fascinated me watching my mom at her sewing machine when I was little. I'm a guy, so I had her show me how to use it. Later on, my grandmother taught me the art of sewing by hand, also, knitting and crocheting, so I can do basic patch-up repair work on seams and tears. Also, if you have kids, you can fix their favorite stuffed animals when a seam lets go or a sibling rips an ear off. The stuffed animal, not the sibling. It's a little thing, but useful. Seems like it's becoming a lost art. I purchased a sewing machine and it paid for itself in about a week, fixing stuff that would either be thrown away or have to pay to fix. And I got better results than my dry cleaner. And for anyone that says it's not manly, you think open ocean sailors and fishermen don't fix sails or running gear. Every recruit at boot camp gets issued a sewing kit with their steel-toed boots. A small sewing kit is standard issue in all Navy Sea bags to this day. You're expected to know how to sew /stitch. Anyone that's been promoted while at sea had to either re-sew their uniforms with new rank or find someone to do it for them. CPR. Stay alive. Stay alive. First I was afraid, I was petrified. Solving a Rubik's Cube. Look it up, you can learn how to solve it in no time, and people will always be impressed. True. It takes only one day, and you will always know how to solve it under 2 minimum. I know how to solve it in way less than 2 minutes. Don't know if this has been said, but shuffling cards. I used to practice while watching TV as a teenager, to the great annoyance of my mom, and I got really good at shuffling and making it look cool. No, whenever cards need to be shuffled, my friends just hand me the deck and watch. Ooh, I forgot about this one. I learned how to shuffle like 10 years ago, and my family still acts amazed whenever we play cards. Like no, it's actually pretty easy to learn. If you have heard of the control panel, you know more about computers than 90% of the human race. If you can install Linux on a computer, you know more than 99.9%. IT is a field populated with confused people who don't understand how they get paid so much for simply troubleshooting issues on computers. IT is a field populated with confused people who don't understand how they get paid so much. IT people solve puzzles. If they solve them well, they are given more difficult puzzles and more money. The simplest puzzles pay approximately double the median wage and the answer is always on the first page of web search results. People refuse to believe this is so, but it is. A word. E2, please let's not misconstrue what I'm saying here. What I intend to state is that the entry level of the IT field tends to pay very well, relative to other entry-level careers. And it tends to be filled with tasks like, setting up new equipment, clearing printer jams and troubleshooting error codes, creating new user accounts and resetting passwords. Yes, asking people to turn it off and turn it on again, which works quite often but nearly always makes root cause analysis impossible. If you have a solid, rigorous troubleshooting methodology and /or mindset, and if you can cull meaningful, relevant information from the petabytes of data on the internet, you will separate yourself from someone who answers the phone for Comcast, telling people to unplug their modems all day long and accidentally disconnecting them. The puzzle that person gets paid to solve could be, and is, done by a static web page telling the customer where the power button is. When you get to more advanced levels of IT, I'm a systems monkey, so my answers reflect that. You will be more responsible for the design, implementation, resiliency, monitoring, and maintenance of that organization. Yes, you will still use a search engine as one of your most important tools. But no, advanced levels of IT isn't just Google it and turn it off and turn it on again. The people I work with are seriously brilliant problem solvers, and have a very robust and incisive troubleshooting methodology. In addition to this, they've spent years and years solving puzzles, so have already seen most of the problems that arise when you mix complex systems in an imperfect world at the behest of megalomaniac C-suites with a chokehold on the checkbook. But at the end of the day, yeah, we solve puzzles. Some of these puzzles are things like, design a worldwide infrastructure that integrates email, instant messaging, collaborative file services, voicemail and telephony, and any data center can be hit by a meteor without an outage experienced by the end users. It's a big answer, but it's just another puzzle. A lot of IT is knowing where to look for the solution, not the solution itself. Cooking. And it's also rewarding when you get extremely good at it. Plus you won't die of malnutrition. Salt, pepper, olive oil. All of a sudden things are edible. Edit, also, cheap pots and pans suck. They'll do far more damage to your cooking confidence than you can imagine. And, fairly often, pair those with some lemon and / or garlic. How to change the channel on your router to one with less interference from your neighbors. Edit, I would explain what this means and how to do this, but you / TowBuddy has already done an excellent job below. Short answer is you can probably, easily get faster Wi-Fi at home. You download the app Wi-Fializer on your phone, check out which channels are super full, then you go to your router's wireless settings, change the channel to manual and choose a channel which no other Wi-Fi networks. Done. Edit, Wi-Fializer by Farproc. https://play.google.com/store/apps. Edit 2, it's because the Wi-Fi's interfere with each other and get slower exponentially the further you are away from the router, because the relatively stronger signals from the other router interfere your signal. Doesn't matter when you have a small 55 square meters apartment like I do, but if you have connection problems over a longer distance you can probably solve the problem by doing what I mentioned above. If you still have a bad connection, use Wi-Fi extending conduits and better use an access point and lay a long cable properly once instead of the hassle of always resetting and repositioning the extenders. These guys mostly cause more trouble and extend the bad signal they get. If you still want to use one of those, use them in the middle between your router and the computer using it. Not right next to the computer, otherwise it will tune up the shit signal and your computer will show you 10/10 Wi-Fi but internet is still not good. Edit 3, I forgot DLAN internet over your power line, but it depends hardly on the wiring on your house, but maybe it's worth a look. I don't know many people that had a really good connection with that. For example, you turn on the microwave and your character in CS Go is porting through CT spawn because of that lol. Obligatory sorry for bad English, I'm not mothertuck and drunken little bit. Most common locks can be picked in seconds. People will think you're some kind of wizard, but it's just basic engineering as locks are very simple devices. The impressive stuff that LPL/Bosnian will do is only for the most expensive or unusual locks, and even that can be learned fairly quickly. The padlock in your kitchen drawer is probably some cheap master lock clone. I am a locksmith, I'm decent at picking locks, but I just don't find master locks as easy as the internet has you think. I don't know if it's just me, but I just don't have much luck getting them picked. Never tried master lock, not a common brand here, but in my experience most $5 padlocks can be shimmed in some way. The more expensive pads usually require 40 to 60 s of picking. The older door locks can usually be bummed pretty easily, and not tried the newest locks yet. ASA and Triovergy are the most common here. I've watched some lock-picking lawyer recently. I'm now fairly certain that if the packaging says pick-proof, it can be opened with an aggressive stare and a piece of linguine. Edit, spelling. Counting cards. It's not that hard if you take a few days to practice, it's mostly mental gymnastics to count quicker and to memorize the true count. Thought card counting was impossible until I started playing euchre. I think it's easier because there are fewer cards to keep track of. Casinos use multiple decks now, I think. In theory it should still work but is less effective. Flicking coins with accuracy and velocity. The trick is to set up your hand like you're going to snap and then just barely inserting the coin in between the thumb and middle finger. Aiming is done with the elbow, so don't make a throwing motion when you flick or the coin will go straight into the ground. Snap your fingers as hard as you can with as much pressure on the coin as you can. The coin should follow the line of your forearm towards and past your elbow. It's a pretty fun party /office trick. Especially if you can get the coin fast enough to do the ZZZZZMMM sound as it flies. There's a fun side effect to this trick doing a snap like this, but straight up, causes the coin to spin in such a way that it reliably levels out and always lands on a specific side, I think the side that started facing up. Point is, you can get 90% plus accuracy at guessing a coin flip using a simple snapping technique. Bonus points because you can also choose the outcome. Generally when you toss a coin, you catch it and then show it. You can manipulate your catch to grab it from either the top, as it goes up, or the bottom, as it falls, letting you control which side of the coin you end up with. I got really good at this in elementary school with just the regular off-the-thumb flip. You can imagine my disappointment when I learned most people older than teenagers want the person who calls the coin to not be the person who flips the coin.